Madhouse Podcasting Network.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Mask. Today, our special guest is Jeremy Smiech, aka Sinatra from Not Scary Farm. Sinatra, thanks for coming on. How are you
Thank
guys
you for
doing
having
today?
me. I'm good, thank you.
Sinatra,
Yes, sir.
I know you've been in the haunt world for a long time, but let's go back to your pre-haunt days. I don't know what there was that actually spawned you to do it. I remember you coming in as a guest and visiting. I have a picture of that somewhere. I just got to find it.
Yeah.
Mind you, Jeremy up north, this guy, he comes and takes a picture with me. He looks like he was a chef. He's wearing a huge white button-up shirt.
Yeah, right.
Chef
and I had the
Jeremy.
little sticker. I had the little sticker from the VIP buffet.
Yeah.
When the buffet was like, it's funny now because people are like, it's like $40, I guess. I'm like, man, I remember when I used to have to go to the chicken house and actually they'd open a book and they'd put your name down and they'd write it on the receipt. And I think I paid $12.
Yeah, I remember
Back
that.
in the day, yeah.
I mean,
Super cheap.
God, it makes you feel old, don't it?
Yeah, it does.
It really
How old?
does.
All of us are in our, well, I'm 50, but you guys are in your 40s.
Yeah.
I'm 47 now.
Yeah. So, you know.
I'll be
Okay, so
47
let's,
this
before
year.
we, because we all three of us know this fucking episode is going to go off the rails.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your humble beginnings, like before you even started haunt. Like what inspired you? What drew you to doing scary guy shit?
Well, I literally the first thing, which nobody can ever do, I remember as a kid, I was just infatuated with Jaws.
Okay.
Just infatuated with it. My parents took me to Universal Studios, and I thought it was
when you were a kid, I think that
Yeah.
still holds true today.
It still holds true today. I have a bathroom, Jeremy, that is totally 100% Jaws.
Whoa, that's cool.
So even today, I mean, it still has a tender spot in my heart. But I remember, being, 4, 5 years old, loving Jaws. And I distinctly remember driving down Western, where Western and La Palma meet. You know how they have the billboard on the back end of the park?
Yeah.
On the corner of Western and La Palma. And they used to put the Scary Farm thing there.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably was about 5 or 6, and I was like, I want to go.
Wow.
I want to go. And at that time, my parents were like 100%, no, it's not for kids. They touch you. I remember, I think it was my aunt that told me they actually they'll put a rat on you. And I was like, wow, okay, well, maybe this isn't too much for me. But I actually stopped trick-or-treating probably around the age of 7 or 8. I was just done. I'm like, I don't want to do trick-or-treat anymore. I'm just over getting the candy.
My trick-or-treated in high school.
Yeah, see, I just totally stopped. I was not a trick-or-treater. My dad used to get dressed up, and he had like this like ghoul mask, and he'd put a white sheet up in the front door. He put a little black light, and he put a strobe light. And when the kids came up to give candy, he would scare them. And I was like, that is like the coolest thing ever. So probably around 9 or 10, my dad just kind of let me do it.
Nice.
So I started handing out candy, scaring the neighborhood kids.
Okay.
And I thought that was like the coolest thing because like the neighborhood would be like, hey, are you doing your little Halloween thing? So then I upped the ante a little bit, and I decided to make from one portion of the backyard to the other side a little maze. And I got like 3 or 4 buddies, and we would just scare kids as they walked through the backyard. And I thought that was, I was like, okay, this is great. And then about 1986, I was about 11. I was about 11 years old, and my parents finally said, okay, you can go. And I thought it was cool. I thought it was great. I was like, you know what? They lied to me. It's not as bad as they said it was.
They were just trying to scare you. Basically.
Yeah. At that age, I was literally trying to get copies of Hellraiser. Pinhead's like my favorite. So like the gore and stuff didn't really do anything to me, if you want to say. It didn't. I wasn't tripping out by it. So, I was
more infatuated with the look of it, huh?
And I tell like a lot of the younger kids, which I know you guys remember, we didn't have like the preview or anything like that where they did the big announcement of mazes. If you wanted to see the stuff, you would actually go to the park during day ops.
Correct.
You'd go like on the log ride or and they'd actually already start decorating stuff, and you'd see stuff. And I go, and most of the time they'd put the new mazes out in the Orange County Register or the LA Times like the week of Haunt.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, there wasn't like a big production like there is now, which I find, I think it's grown so big now. I mean, you got to have it, but I distinctly remember not knowing what the mazes were sometimes until I actually walked in the park.
Yeah, that's true.
And I thought that was the coolest thing, and it's kind of funny because there's certain individuals that'll be like, yeah, dude, I worked Haunt this many years. I'm like, yeah, dude, but you started like when there was like 8 nights of Haunt.
Yeah, that's pretty much when I started. I was like, I think it was in 1990, it was 10 nights, some shit like that.
Yeah, it just wasn't a lot. Like there was one guy that was like that worked the log ride, and he was telling me, he's like, dude, I worked the log ride for like 5 years. I go, yeah, dude, you worked the log ride when it was like 6 nights, 9 nights.
Yeah.
So technically, in 3 years, you worked what I worked in 1 year. So I mean,
it's so funny that you said that because it's so true.
That's funny.
So true.
And I'm like, dude, shut up, dude. Stop bragging that you worked it like you earned a medal for working it that long. It's like, dude, I did that in 1 year. I'm like, God,
oh my God, that's so funny. Just how how you put it.
I got my real estate license in 2000, and I really didn't give it much thought of working it. I went every single year religiously. That was before, obviously, that we had the season pass.
Right.
So it would cost, at that time, I think I was getting tickets for like $25.
Yeah, pre-sale was like $20.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a lot. So I would actually get like, I don't know, 2 or 3 nights. And I would, I was so ghetto trash then. I would go and I'd get the little box Kodak disposable cameras.
Yeah.
I'd get 2 or 3 of them, and I would I'd go to the park and
just fire away.
Oh, and just fire away. Just fire away. And that's about I think it was 98, 99 is when Ted started ultimatehaunt.com.
I think that's about right, yeah.
And I started sending the pictures to Ted, and Ted would actually post the pictures on Ultimate Haunt.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
And that's kind of sort of when I started to figure out who was who and stuff. Like I knew who Bad Boy was. I knew who Haystack was, so I started and I thought it was like the coolest thing ever when he started having like Lucifer and Star and all those guys start writing biographies on their characters.
Yeah.
I thought that was like, oh my God, because it kind of had like a Kiss feel to it. Like, you're like, I've never seen this guy without his makeup.
Yeah.
This is like the coolest thing ever. Like, I wouldn't know this guy if I saw him walking down the street. And that's kind of sort of how it all got started. I know you guys are like looking for stories. One of the best stories I have when I was a fan was Ron Burnett, the original King,
the Vampire King, yeah,
the Vampire King of the Gauntlet. And when I was fanboying it, I walked up and he was on his little gauntlet throne, whatever you want to call it. And I go, hey man, can I get a picture? And he just looked at me and he's like, no. And I didn't know the whole specifics on how pictures actually worked because I'd say 99% of all the monsters didn't care. So I would get, like I got pictures of Kurt, Dad, in lore. I mean, I got pictures of Paul Marshman,
Maniac.
It's funny now because a lot of these guys, like another one real quick, not to like go way off track. I got a picture with this monster in Ghost Town. I mean, the face was just destroyed. It looked like the Toxic Avenger kind of, sort of.
Okay.
It was probably 1997, 98.
Okay.
And I had no idea who the guy was. And probably about 2014, I guess Cowboy Bobby was going through my Facebook and looking at the pictures. And he actually sent a comment and he goes, dude, that's Paul. That's Paul Frechette. He goes, that was his first night ever in Ghost Town. And I'm like,
I've been trying to figure out what face that was that he wore his first night.
the picture that I have with him.
I know which one it is. He had like dread hair on it and had this weird,
It had like a weird
mouth and his eyes looked like they were blown out.
It was just weird.
Yeah.
And he actually tagged Paul, and Paul actually was like, dude, that is totally my first night, man. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Because I guess a lot of people just didn't think about taking pictures with you guys back then.
Yeah.
Or posting the pictures.
Yeah.
But I had all these pictures just sitting there, and I was like, yeah, I'll start posting them. I even have pictures of Bigfoot's Revenge.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
That is crazy.
And a lot of guys are like, dude, like none of us ever thought about taking pictures of any of this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know where most of it is now, but I put a lot of it on my Facebook. So it's out there. People want to, take a look and kind of see if they're part of that or not.
Yeah.
But getting back to Ron's like, no, he kind of like walked away. Well, if you remember how Ted used to run the Ultimate Hunt, he would have, for the 1 month, he would actually open up the bulletin board or the message board.
Yeah.
And me being a smart ass, I went on there and I'm like, yeah, dude, the king of the gauntlet's a jerk off. He wouldn't take a picture, blah, blah, blah. Well, Pixie came in and Pixie goes, dude, I totally remember who you are. Sorry about that, but we don't have to take pictures. And then Ron jumped in. So me and Ron are going back and forth on each other. And then Ted just came in and just closed the whole thing. He goes, yeah, we're done with this thread. No more discussion. It's done. It's over.
Yeah.
So fast forward a decade. And I honestly never met Ron. So I didn't even know who Ron was at the time. We went to one of the Huntington Beach poker games and Ron was there.
Yeah. With Jeff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, Jeff wasn't at that one, but yeah, he usually was he's always pretty much with Jeff.
Yeah.
But Ron was there and I'm like, dude, do you remember blah, blah, blah? And he goes, I don't remember the situation, but I totally remember that message board. I go, well, I was that guy.
What'd he say?
Oh, he laughed. He thought it was great. He goes, dude, I totally remember the message board thing. He goes, you're a dick. and I go, yeah, so now anytime I see Ron, which is probably about once or twice a year, I don't see him a whole lot. We always make fun of it because it's moments like that you really laugh about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because now you're friends with the guy.
And I never thought, I never thought in a million years, honestly, I would work the event. And that's just being honest. I didn't start working the event until I was 34, 35 years old.
Yeah. Okay, so when that time came, what clicked in your mind and says, hey, I want to work the event?
Well, I had my real estate license, and I had been doing real estate for about 8 or 9 years at that time.
Okay.
And I just never looked into actually doing it. Like, I didn't even know how to go about even putting in an application or an audition or anything. So I didn't know. And then something just happened in like that year where I was like, I'm going to look in just to kind of see if this is something. So I went ahead and I looked into it, and it said, yeah, you need to be out at the Western parking lot no earlier than 2 a.m. So I stayed up and I waited. Me being the guy that likes to follow direction, I show up at 2 a.m. and the line is around the whole parking lot.
It's
and I go, yeah, there's that 2 a.m. thing. So I was like literally like way in the back. It was so bad that when they actually did start giving out the tickets to come back, I couldn't come back until the second day. So there was there was a ton of people ahead of me that were allowed to come back on that Monday. So I was like, okay. So I came back on that Tuesday, and the lady that was in charge of the event at that time came out. And she goes, okay, I'm just giving everybody a heads up. All the positions in the mazes are taken except for corn stalkers and the log ride. Everything else is filled. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like trying to do the math in my head. I'm like looking, and I'm like, okay, I'm number, and I for some reason I remember this. I was number 18 in line, and I was looking to see how many people were in front of me. I'm like, okay, what are the chances of me actually getting a monster spot? So we get up there, and again, I don't research anything. I just show up, and I figured you still had to audition, but I didn't know you didn't have to audition. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? So I'm standing there, and she walks in. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sell. Like, I want to get in the log ride. I'm going to sell it. So she like walks up and she goes, okay, where would you like to go? I go, I want the log ride. I go, I'm ready. And she like looked over at somebody. She goes, this guy wants the log ride.
Oh my God.
When she was already knowing he is fucking crazy.
I had no idea how bad of life choice that was at the time.
I think you could have started in Cornstalker's maze.
Cornstalkers had just been filled just before I got up there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I didn't know about the whole, you can start the year as a blackout or a line control, and you might be able to move up. So I was like, you know what? I just want to be a monster. That's all I want to do. Yeah. So my first year, I was a colonial soldier.
In the log ride?
In the log ride.
Nice.
What was the theme of it that year?
Sleepy Hollow.
Okay, that makes sense.
What year was that?
It was so funny though, man, because like I never knew like Glow. I never knew Glow worth the log ride. I have always admired her. My admiration for her went up that much more when I found out she had actually worked the log ride as well. Nice. Anybody that's ever worked the log ride, automatic, I have admiration for that person. Because
dude, it's gross and wet and unsafe.
It was the year before they did the whole remodel of the mountain.
Yeah.
And when I went into my first night, I was already stoked. That's when they still had the bare bones on Wednesday nights.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was the first and only year of that.
28. It was 28 nights that year.
Yeah.
And I remember we got in there and I didn't have a harness. There was no harness for me. So Ian was walking through there and he's like, you know what? Just do your thing. And I'm like, this is great, man. I'm just going to walk around the flume. My foot went right through the wood. It was already rotting that bad. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go to that area no more. And my feet had gotten so wet that first night, my black socks had turned my feet into gray.
Oh, wow.
And my feet were cracking. I couldn't walk because my feet were cracked from the water log so bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it gets so hot, it gets humid in there with the water. So you're constantly taking your mask and doing this, and that water's just drenching out. The only lucky part I had was I actually had a skeleton mask that they okayed me to use. So I at least got my own mask.
Right.
But that was 28 days of hell. And the whole time I kept telling myself, you know what? You're paying your dues. This is how you pay your dues.
Yeah.
You go
in the trenches.
You just do it. I didn't meet a soul that year. I didn't know anybody, didn't meet anybody. I just went to work and I went home. I didn't do anything after I mean, literally, you were stuck in that mountain. You didn't talk to anybody else other than the people you worked with.
That must be a Jeremy thing, because I did the exact same thing my first year. I just went, worked, I played by the rules, and I went home.
Well, it was weird because I didn't know anything about hot boxes. I didn't know anything about anything. And when I got there, I realized, I got to have a bag. I took a suitcase.
Well, Jeremy did that all the way through his career.
Me?
Yeah.
What suitcase?
You had a suitcase too?
Suitcase.
I didn't have a suitcase full. I had a freaking hot box.
You had a suitcase at first. The little small one with wheels, the collapsible handle.
Oh, I did. Yeah. The black one.
That's exactly what I had.
Okay.
And I would just put all my stuff in there and I'd zip it up, zipping around, and
Yeah.
I didn't remember
you know, my
that.
God, dude, they all like got like these toolbox things. Okay, I go, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I don't need to do that. So I didn't do that. I was just like, you know what? I'm just here. I'm just enjoying the moment. And I go, but next year is going to be different. And then the following year, I did the first year that trick or treat was allowed or came. And honestly, I'm a huge believer. Everybody should work a maze 1 year.
Oh yeah.
1 year. I think that would actually help develop friendships. It would develop somebody belonging and getting adapted to the environment. I've just seen too many people go right to street zones, and sometimes the ego gets in the way, or they just assume like, yeah, I never had to work a maze. It's like, dude, it's not bad working a maze.
No,
it's not.
it makes you a better monster.
It's a lot of fun.
That year in that maze, there was so much talent in that maze. It was unbelievable.
And I remember that year too. That was 2014.
No, it was 12.
That was your first year?
That was my first year in a maze.
Okay, well that 2014 was the first time I saw you in Trick or Treat, because I was
I only wore Trick or Treat in 12. That was the first year. I remember you went through it, and me and you talked on the side.
Yeah.
That was 12.
Okay. God,
because I mean, there was a Sledge was in there. There was a girl named Denise that was in there. Lewis was in there. There were so many people that went to work streets from there, and it was such a tight knit group. It kind of was a throwback to the old mazes, like the Asylum and stuff, where they, you just had the same core group coming. Yeah. Granted, it was only 1 year, and I heard through the grapevine the following year that it was just different. Because everybody left, but I thought that was a really good year. It's probably one of my favorite years, to be honest.
Well, the dynamic changes too every year. People don't come back. The dynamic is gonna change.
Then 2013, I did decide to audition finally, and that was the last year that Craig was in charge of auditions, and I auditioned. And it was kind of funny because, Ian was there. And if you remember Richard Strawberry.
Richard Strawberry?
Well, he works at Disney now.
I would have to see his face.
They were all there. And they had me do some stupid stuff. And Craig was like, I'm thinking about putting you in Necropolis. And I'm like, I really don't want to go there. And he goes, why is that? I go, I'm just older. I kind of want to go where the older guys are. And he goes, you want to go to Ghost Town? He goes, I was going to say Boardwalk too. And I'm like, I really just want to go to Ghost Town because I just think there's older people there and I'll probably do better there. And he goes, that's fair. He goes, well, I got a character for you. It's a really big shoes to fill. And I'm like, I don't even know what the hell that means. And I'm like, and he goes, well, this guy just retired. He's been doing the character for 15 years. So, I think you can do it. It's the beast. And the fanboy in me was like, yeah. Like, oh my gosh, dude, like my first year going to Ghost Town and they're going to put me in because at that point I still thought, oh my gosh, they're going to give me makeup my first year. That's incredible. That was unheard of. I didn't even expect that. So somebody had actually posted on the Ghost Town group page. Yeah, a rookie got the Beast face, and Mike was still part of the group at that time.
And Mike's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's like, dude, really? They gave my face to a damn rookie? And then I had actually met Mike the year prior because during Trick or Treat, I was actually able to meet people.
Yeah.
So I actually met up with Mike, and Mike was like, hey, dude, I got a couple of things I really want you to do. Don't look like me. Don't be me. Fair enough.
Okay, right. Well, he was, it's different.
Fair enough. Kind of going back to like when I first started, here's a good one for you too, because I know you guys just had Lucifer on.
Yeah.
The only time I ever truly fanboyed, the only time was I didn't really get a chance to walk backstage a whole lot because I was in the log ride. So
Yeah,
I was never back there.
Yeah, you had a break area right there on site.
But I knew who Lucifer was. I knew who Scott. I didn't know who Scott was, but I knew the character. I actually, Jeremy, have a picture of Lucifer, I think, with his very first werewolf mask, when the white teeth were really prominent.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, dude, I don't even have a picture of that.
That was before
Wow.
that was his purchased one, right? Not the custom?
Yeah, that was the purchased one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because again, that's like on my Facebook, but he saw it and he was like, oh my gosh, dude. He's like, I didn't think anybody actually had a picture of that first mask.
it's so funny because back then we used to always get kind of irritated with like the fans, like, dude, fucking leave us alone, like the groupies or whatever. And here, like, 15 years later, you have actual photos, of a photo that he doesn't even have, because you were a fan and you went and took photos. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and honestly, during that time, I never thought about that. I was like, never like, you know what, dude, I might work the event or I might actually hang out with these guys.
Yeah.
So I never really gave it much thought. I always just was doing it because I'm like, oh, it's cool. Ted throws them up on Ultimate Haunt.
Yeah.
And that's how, like, me and Ted got to know each other. It's like, even now, me and Ted laugh about it because he's like, dude, I remember you before you were doing any of this shit.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, right. I go, dude, just kind of makes me feel old. But the log ride actually had broken down for a weekend. The conveyor belt that was lifting the logs up into the mountain had broke. So we didn't actually work for a couple nights. They called us on a Sunday and said, hey, we got it working. We need you guys to come in, get here around 7. So I got there. I'm sitting there and I see this big, tall guy. And he's got raccoon eyes and he's sitting on a hot box. And I'm like, dude, he's dressed like Lucifer. No shit, that's what he looks like. Holy cow. So that's what he looks like. This whole time I was just like, wow, okay. That was like literally the only time I was like, okay. So that's what he looks like. Because I just never thought about it until then. I'm like, okay.
That's funny.
So, I grew, as a fan, in my opinion, I always watch Jeff Starr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's weird now because I see guys like Trey and stuff, and I'm watching them, and they're doing their thing, and they're incredible, just as good. But I'm like, man, dude, Jeff did some really asinine, stupid things.
Yeah.
He did. He was so good. Jeff was so good.
It was just incredible to me. I'd watch him and I'd watch Dusty.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude, I totally want to do what Dusty does. I totally want to be that guy.
Dusty was fun.
Which obviously can't happen now, but I totally want to be that guy. Like, I even saw him once go and do the blood drums when they were doing them by in front of the gauntlet.
Yeah.
I saw Mike race over there and start playing the drums. I'm like, yeah, that would never be allowed now. That would never be allowed now. Yeah. But it was just so cool to me.
Whatchamacallit too, Bobby, he was the line drummer. That was his haunt name.
Really?
He's a drummer and he could, he would play the drums at haunt.
That I did not know. See, you know something I didn't know.
Yep.
But yeah, I did 2013. I did the Beast, and I loved every minute of it. Loved every minute of it. And then 2014, I went to re-audition, and I didn't pass my audition. So for those people that say, "Yeah, once you're in, you're in," no, you're not.
No.
No, you're not.
Wow.
No, you're not. It doesn't work like that. I didn't pass. It is what it is. And I went back to trick or treat.
Wait, 14?
Well, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So I went back.
Yeah. Okay.
And I said, hey, I'll just go and do the Piggy Trickster again, trick or treat. I had a good time with it. So I actually went to the practice, and there was my old lead from Trick or Treat was now the lead for Infected when it was in Camp Snoopy. And I happened to be walking, and she goes, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, I had to come do my practice. And she said, where are you at? I go, trick or treat. She goes, shut up. She goes, they didn't put you back out? And I'm like, I guess I didn't pass my audition. She goes, you know what? Let me talk to John. And that was John Cook at the time. And John Cook came over and he's like, dude, how'd you like to be a squad leader in Infected? And I'm like, that sounds cool. It sounds different. That sounds unique. Yeah, let's do it. It really was cool when
it was more too, wasn't it?
I'm sorry?
Wasn't the pay more to be a squad leader than a regular?
Yes.
Than a maze talent? Yeah.
I didn't know that at the time, though.
Right.
But when I got over there, he's like, okay, your partner's going to be Nelson Lee.
Oh, fucking awesome.
So Nelson was actually supposed to work with Garrett, but Garrett decided not to do it at the last minute. So they had me come in and work with Nelson.
Big Garrett, big bitch.
Yeah, no. Garrett Mendez.
Oh, dude, bro. Okay.
Yeah. So they gave us scripts. And I mean, the scripts are probably about a quarter of an inch thick. And Nelson was flipping through it. He goes, dude, I'm just not feeling this. Because he was soft spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, dude, if we do this, you're going to be in charge of the whole thing, dude. I'll just stand in the back and I'll just run with you. And I'm like, fair enough, man. I can do this. I got the voice for it. And
man.
I think it was probably like the next day or 2 days later, he texts me and goes, dude, I'm not gonna do it. It's not what I want to do. I want to scare people.
Right.
And I said, fair enough, Nelson, you know, and he didn't do it. So I did Infected 14 and 15 because Scott failed me on 15. So I couldn't go to Ghost Town. Because Scott was a douche and said, no, your audition sucked.
His audition was horrible, Jeremy.
Really?
It was horrible. And at the time, I didn't have enough background on him to see exactly. So his audition, I had to weigh heavily on that. And but we talked after that too, and I explained to him why. I go, dude, really?
I went in, Jeremy, with the impression I had gone to the Calico camping trip. And one of the people that worked there was telling us about a legend of something called a Tommy Knocker. And a Tommy Knocker was a mischievous gremlin-looking thing that would mess with the miners and give them a hard time. So I came back like, oh my gosh, dude, this is the character.
Right.
Nobody in Ghost Town had done it. I even reached out to a couple people, did some like drawings of it. I mean, I was 100% sold. So I went in there and I tried to sell the character and not sell me.
Yeah.
I was just here's the problem too, is like, it was so vocal.
It was all vocal.
Creepy movement. So I'm like, no. You know, I was looking for a blend of something because I found out, and this is before his auditions too. I found out and I talked to him. I said, you better sell it, dude. You know, I go, you gotta sell it.
Well, now you know.
Yes. Well, I just walked in and I'm like, oh yeah, dude, I'll put this in your head and da. You know, everything was vocal.
Wow.
There was, honest to God, there was no body movement. Everything was vocal.
Well, your arms are moving a little bit, but that was it.
Yeah. So everything, but I've come to realize about myself, majority of what I do is vocal.
True.
So, you know, like when I was doing Infected, it totally made sense.
Yeah, because you were super loud.
Yeah, I'm extremely loud, so it makes sense. So after that, after 15, after doing camp again, I was like, man, I got to get back into go. This is annoying me now. And I had already planned like another thing and stuff. And
I had something in mind for him though already.
I actually had reached out to one of the Pig twins because I guess they had issues the year before. And I told her, I said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I could get dressed up as a pig twin and you could do the pig? Because me and her work really well together. And she goes, you know, that would be kind of cool. She goes, but, you know, it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth last year. I don't really think I want to do the pig anymore. And then I had heard through the grapevine that they weren't doing the pigs.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
And that was the plan to not do the pigs. And then they said, we're going to cast them. I said, okay, you need to let me cast them. And I said, we need to do 2 males. And, you know, they pushed on it a little bit, said, nope, 2 males. Trust me. So I'm sorry, Sinatra. I'm kind of going down the path where we started talking about it because so he comes in and does his stick, Jeremy, and this is when they moved auditions to the warehouses in the back.
Oh.
So he's doing his auditions, doing his thing. He slips and smacks his head on the cement
Oh, jeez. dude.
because the ground was polished cement.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
they didn't tell us it was slick or anything. So I was like doing like this whole like jive move,
Right.
and all of a sudden I literally went and almost did a slide.
Dude, when he hit his head, I could feel it. And I was like 15 feet away from him. I could feel the ground shake.
Holy shit.
I mean, I played it off like a champ. I jumped up. I'm like, ta-da!
Uh,
You know, like I'm good. I'm good, guys.
And it's funny too, because before he came into audition, I actually before that day even I was talking to Ian about it. I said, okay, here's who I have that I'm looking to cast as the pigs. And I told him, and Ian just happened to be in the audition when he came in, and he fell, and I'm going, oh yeah. And I look at Ian, Ian's all, oh yeah. So
I mean, I was really happy when they go, yeah, we're going to go ahead and cast you. I was really excited because I honestly always wanted to be a pig. There was that. Now that, you know, granted they had changed it from the pink to like the grayish colors that they are now.
yeah.
But I really wanted to be a pig, so I was really excited. The one guy that I really want to acknowledge, though, is John Aspirin.
Yeah.
He was actually there as well when I did that, and you know, I went and thanked him for his time because he kept me as a squad leader.
Yeah. Oh, he and I talked about it too before you came in.
You know, and that guy's great. That guy's solid. You know, I'll if that guy ever told me I need you in a maze, I'd go.
Yeah.
Just because it's John.
Yeah. He's legit.
Yeah.
No,
You
he
know,
and I
so-
talked about it before you came in because I said, hey, so I want to take one of your squad leaders for this part, provided he auditions well for it. And he's like, who? And I told him, I go, I want him to audition for the pig. And he's like, do it. So
Yeah, so I did the pig, 4 years?
4 years, yeah.
4 years. You'll probably like this, Jeremy. The simple fact, I had like this whole plan when I was going to do the pig. Like I was going to make it much more because, yeah, I was heavy then. Not as heavy as now, but a little bit more athletic then.
right.
And I said, you know, I'm going to crawl on the ground and I'm going to do all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I had all these ideas. And I actually got out there, and honest to God, I didn't even know I was doing it. I swear to God, didn't even know I was doing it. I was sliding.
That's awesome.
And I wasn't even thinking I was sliding. For me, it's always hard because I see a lot of people say, like, yeah, dude, I slide in February to stay in shape. I legitimately never once a day in my life slid or practiced
He didn't lead up to it at all. He just went
at all. And I literally was sliding in that fat suit.
Yeah. Oh, there goes Jeremy's camera again.
Motherfucker. Seriously?
There it goes. But it was great because I was by the fireman barbecue
Yeah, Fireman's Barbecue.
that one night, and I slid, and all of a sudden I see this flash like, dude, right on me, and I'm like, what the? I go, I knew it was somebody higher up, I just didn't know who it was, and I look over and it's Scott, and I walk over and he goes, dude, are you sliding? And I'm like, no, that was a crawl. And he goes, dude, I just watched you slide a good 3 or 4 feet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I could have swore, man, that was a crawl. And he goes, no. You need to take the test, man. He goes, if you're going to be out here doing that stuff, you got to take the test. And I had Tim in wardrobe actually lift the dress up, because if I had to go in for a slide, like you can't use your hands like a normal slider does,
Because you got that big fat suit.
because you got the big fat suit and you got some big
Boobies.
boobies. So everything is composed on your legs. There is no arms at all.
Yeah, it's all upright. Sliding upright.
So it looks like a damn bowling ball.
True.
Literally, you know, I've seen videos of it. Like there's a couple videos out there of me sliding, and I'm like, God, that looks awful. There's no athleticism to it whatsoever, but it just looks awful. But it is a very big strain to like jump up. You have to literally jump up to your legs. So I started to try to do it like a baseball slide, to where I could just pop right up. So Tim was kind enough to actually raise the dress a little bit. And then I had to go take the test.
Yeah.
And it was great because Ian was there for the test. And the first time I took the test, I barely failed, I guess. It wasn't good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it just wasn't enough. And it was, the biggest reason was because you weren't completely ready to slide in a dress.
Yeah.
And that was a problem.
And it was just very difficult for me because it was like, wow, okay. So like me and Ian were walking back and I'm like, well, I failed. And Ian goes, we gave that away. And I'm like, man, that was bad. So I actually went out and I took the test the following week. And I think it was Mike Beggs pulled me aside and says, hey, look, we know what you can do and we know what you're going to do. We feel confident that in doing what you're doing, you're not going to hurt anybody.
That's exactly what I told him. I said, he can do it. It's just, he needs to just be talked to a little bit.
Yeah. I sure as hell wasn't going to be diving in and out of crowds.
Yeah.
I would need a good 15 feet just to attempt anything. And I need a good 5 feet wide.
Yeah. And
in the 4 years I slid in that suit, I never once even came close to touching somebody.
Yeah. And there's, some guys, some bigger dudes too, that when they went through the test, they couldn't pass until like 3 or 4 tries.
Yeah.
So that's like 2, sometimes 3 years before they're actually allowed to slide, because you get 2 chances every season well, back then you did.
I mean, it got easier. I mean, now they test every year, which I'm 100% with, and I'm for. Because even me, I could feel the last year that I slid. I was like, you know what? I don't have the anymore. I can't jump to my feet like I did, last year. I could feel it in 2019. I could totally feel the difference. Yeah. And I had a new partner that year. And he was great.
Yeah. That's John, right?
Yeah, John.
Yeah.
And we both decided, like, you know what? We're not going to wear our pads some nights. And other nights we'd put them on. And he didn't really slide a whole lot. I did.
Yeah.
But by like midnight, 11:30, we'd take the pads off and just go out. Because it was
mainly for protection for you guys at that point, in case you guys fell or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing is, in all the years I worked as a pig, I never got touched once. Never got hit.
Really bad.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, man, there was nights that you would take that suit off and you would just see the steam just escape.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Which in hindsight, Scott knows the story. In hindsight, it was a bad idea, bad life choice for me. I was drinking about 120 ounces of Gatorade a night.
Yeah,
and I couldn't
drinking water.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't go to the bathroom. I was so dehydrated every night. I couldn't use the facilities.
And you had an overabundance of sodium in your system too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I pretty much knew in 2019 my days doing the pig were pretty much going to be, I was going to be 45, 46 at that time. And I'm like, I don't think anyone's ever done it this as old as I have.
Yeah.
I go, and
I also started later in life too.
I did, but I'm not the most health conscious person either. We all know this.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. If you actually drove me to a gym, I'd be like, and what do you want me to do with that?
Because I get in the car.
You want me to lift heavy things?
Did you just want me to drop you off and I'll come pick you up? I mean, oh wait, dude, is there a grocery store by? I'll just go hang out there. But I kind of knew. So with everything that happened in 2020, there's people that were asking like, "Oh, do you think they'll do it?" And I'm like, "Dude, they're not going to do it. I mean, they can't."
2020, no, yeah.
So 2020 passed, and that was fine. I think in a lot of ways, everybody kind of needed that year off that were older.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us needed that time off, I think, in my opinion. And last year they did the applications and the interviews and everything over the phone. And the girl that did mine called up and we went through the interview process, questions and stuff. And she goes, congratulations. We want to offer you a new street spot. And I go, new street spot? Huh. And she goes, yeah, we're going to move you to a new zone. So I'm thinking, okay, they're moving me to camp. They're moving me to boardwalk. They're moving me somewhere. And I go, okay. And she goes, are you okay with that? And I'm like, it's your sandbox. You just let me play. Yeah. And that's the other thing I don't think a lot of people realize. Some people get insulted. Like, I can't believe they moved me out of that zone. Dude, they're probably doing it because they feel you can do something better in this area.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a punishment. They're not trying to it's not about you. It's about the event too. I don't think a lot of them realize that either. It's not about you. It's about the event.
Yeah.
They're trying to put on the best show that they can.
Right.
So, I'm like, no, it's your sandbox. If that's where you guys want me to go, and she goes, okay. She goes, well, we're going to get in touch with you. You're going to be moving to a new zone. And I'm like, okay. And I go, is it like new? And she goes, it's new.
Brand new. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So later on, I found out I was going to be playing the mob boss in the Goring 20s,
which in my opinion was the perfect role for you.
I literally sat there and I go, dude, and somebody said it best, and I don't remember who it was. Somebody literally told me, it's like they literally thought of you and made a street zone just for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I go,
do you want to divulge said street zone for those that don't know what it is?
Oh, it's Goring 20s.
There you go.
So I was
really
yeah.
Huh?
I said it earlier.
You already said
you
it.
did? I didn't.
But I was like so out of this world excited because I was like, oh my gosh, dude, I'm going to be able to wear a suit. I'm going to be able to talk trash. I go, this is awesome.
All night long talking shit.
And it was weird because I don't think anybody else thought about it. I know definitely nobody in the new zone thought about it, but I definitely did.
Right.
It was the first year I've actually been able to run by myself in 7-8 years.
Wait, did you actually run? I think not.
You know what I mean? I got to work by myself.
Bro, your spot was the paper tiger.
The blind tiger.
I'm sorry, the blind tiger.
Yes and no. I was actually asked to run with one girl for, I guess she was getting harassed pretty good. So they asked me to run with her. And then they thought it was like a home run because she was outstanding. I believe she got Monster of the Year from Knott for the zone. She was awesome. Really good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But she was a little spitfire. And here's old clinkety me. And then I got plantar fasciitis in my foot.
Oh, shit.
So I'm trying to keep up with her, which I was actually able to do. I was kind of shocked. I was actually able to keep up with her. So, but then she's like, I just want to work by myself. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. No harm, no foul. So she did that and I did my thing. But it was like the first time I've ever been able just to say, I'm going to go do my own thing by myself.
Good.
And I didn't have to look around and go, where's my partner? Where are they at? Okay, I got to find them.
Yeah.
I was able just to go and do my thing. I thought it was a great year.
Yeah. Well, that zone, in my opinion, was amazing. Obviously, it was still in the infant stages, but the foundation is there, and for the potential of it I think is huge. It's only going to get better look-wise. Like they're going to put in more facades, and with the construction going on there now, those buildings are going to tie into it. The new eatery or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah. I think, in my opinion, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it. I'm sure they're going to bring in more characters. I'm sure that's going to happen. But I mean, they had the perfect cast lead. Jacob was the cast. Amazing. Jacob's amazing.
Yeah.
Perfect cast lead to lead those, because most of these people in the Goring 20s were actual actors. There's about 3 or 4 of them that actually had degrees in acting.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of them had no idea what they were signing up for. And it was kind of funny watching them because they're like, oh my gosh, dude, these kids are all over it. And I'm like, it's part of the job.
Yeah. They struggled just because they didn't know the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but again, I mean, yeah, you had your wife. I mean, how many times am I going to hear, oh, or hey, get out of my way, or hey, look, it's Al Capone. You know, I'm like, golly, man, don't they ever come up with anything original?
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, I still did my little, you know, like I had some poor girl and her boyfriend. They're like, so how do I get in the Blind Tiger? And I go, and I thought this whole thing up in my head. I'm like, dude, I can totally do this. And she was like, so how do I get in the Blind Tiger? And I go, okay, this is the deal. You know where it is, right? She goes, yeah. And I go, okay, this is the password. I go, right now, it's probably a capacity, so they're not going to let you in right now. But stand at the door, and as soon as somebody walks out, you give the password, and they'll let you in. So I literally had about 12 or 15 people lined up by that door, just waiting to go inside.
Oh, my God.
And I was actually like standing across the street at one point watching it. And I saw Jacob and I go, hey, man, you might want to go over there and tell him that it's all a lie. I go, I don't want to go over there and tell him because I don't know what they'll do to me. And he's like, okay. He goes, yeah, I'll tell him. He's like, how long have they been there? And I go, about 45 minutes.
Oh shit,
God.
that long?
And he's like, okay. He's I got it. So he went over there, and I guess they felt, I don't know if they felt stupid, to be honest, but I guess they told him, oh yeah, we knew he was lying. And he's like,
right. They felt stupid.
He's like, I don't know why they're still standing there, you know? And I'm like, I don't know either, you know? And we were given a lot. And like I said, I watched the Lucifer episode, and we were allowed to take pictures.
Yeah.
In the Goring 20s, you were allowed to take pictures now. As long as you didn't form a line and turn it into, hey, let's meet Mickey Mouse or Goofy.
Right.
Yeah.
You were allowed to take pictures.
It's a quick snap and boom, gone.
First couple of weeks, they didn't allow it. But after that, they allowed it. From what I've been told by photographers, it was really easy to get photos in that area because of the lighting.
Yeah.
And that was probably the biggest change for me was the lighting. You know,
yeah.
I was used to shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in that big suit, I could still come at people and they wouldn't see me coming. In that thing, man, they see you a mile away.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got to, you know, change it up and do something different. And it was really odd for me too, because I was still like the first 2 weeks, I had no idea what I was doing. I really didn't. As much as I want to sit here and say, oh, dude, that character was perfect for me. I was like, okay, what do I do? Okay.
Well,
Yeah, I can do that.
It's a new character, so you needed to develop your own style with it.
And that's basically like what Jacob had said as well. You know, and he's like, you know, the first 2 weeks you seemed like you were struggling. And I said, I was. I go, I didn't really know how to do it. He goes, dude, you were the same character for like 4 or 5 years over there, man.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, you got to find your way here. And I thought I did okay. Like I got Monster of the Week for the zone 1 week. So, you know, I did at some point find my purpose.
Yeah.
But I didn't, you know, and to some people, maybe I was standoffish. But this was like the first year I wasn't really heavily involved in like banquets or jerseys or any of that stuff like I normally am.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, I'm just going to go to work and I'm just going to go home. I'm not going to do anything.
Fresh air.
You know, I don't want to say I'm getting old.
You're getting old, dude.
But maybe I'm getting old.
Yeah, you're getting old.
You know, I just didn't feel
Jeremy,
like
your camera sucks.
Dude, I don't know what's going on, man. Anyways,
Mr. Tech Guy.
Yeah, the one tech guy.
Yeah.
it's so weird because it didn't do it on Lucifer's. It didn't do it on the one before.
Yeah.
It didn't do it. Yeah, so it's like it has a mind of it. It's when Scott's on, it fucking loses its mind.
Yeah.
Good job, Scott.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it was totally different. You know, some people called it Ghost Town Alive or Scary Farm. I didn't really see that.
No. You guys
I
weren't scripted at all.
No, not really. You know, they let us do it.
Theatrical.
It was fun because I'd say about 3 or 4 weeks into it, they decided to do a closing ceremony down there,
Mm-hmm.
and that was fun. You know, that was very interesting and entertaining. A couple people come in and saw it. I think there's video of it on YouTube and stuff as well. So I definitely do think that the public loved it.
I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
Oh man, it was great when they brought that suit out. You should have seen my eyes. I was like, because I don't wear suits hardly at all anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I got my haunt name. Was I literally showed up to haunt.
I was just
from
gonna
my
touch
real
on
estate,
that.
from my real estate group, and I was in my suit, and everybody knew I listened to Sinatra already because I would always listen to it before I would work. And one of the guys was like, "Dude, you really are him, man. You live it, you dream it, and you freaking dress it." And I'm like, and I was like one of those guys. I didn't really care to have a quote unquote nickname. I was perfectly fine with people just calling me Jeremy. It didn't bother me.
Right.
But that's the other thing. I never understood that people are like, I need a haunt name. I'm like, for what? I mean, it doesn't.
It's just a character thing. That's it. You don't need to be,
Yeah, I never understood it, but I mean, I was like, okay, I guess I'm Sinatra now, and like some people are like, dude, you're so lucky, dude, you got that name. I got like ass Gerber shits. And you're like, dude, well, I don't know why you got that name. I don't know. Did you shit your pants? I mean, I don't know.
That's so
I don't know how you got that name. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you there.
Oh man.
Some people, I mean, yeah, dude, they have, and they're like, dude, you have like one of the coolest fucking haunt names I've ever heard. And I'm like, what? It's not like, I went over and like, there's a book and I'm like, okay, I'll take that one.
Right.
And I just kind of chuckled at it. I was like, okay. I mean, look at Ed. Ed's Ed.
Yeah.
No, he's Snake.
Ed.
Or the Cobb.
Yeah. He had Scream Guy on his haunt jersey for years.
Yeah, I know. But his character name is Snake.
Yeah.
Well, but Scott Raleigh, his name was Tay, but his character name was I'm Scary Guy.
It's just weird how certain names come. It's like Natalie Fork.
Yeah,
You're like
Forks.
You're Forks. What?
Because she has forks in her hair.
Yeah, that's all it took was her putting forks in her hair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
honestly, I don't know where people came up with this. Oh, you got to be given your haunt name. It's like, no, you don't. You can choose your own.
That was started by somebody because I believed that as well. I was like that guy. Now that being said, I never gave out. The only person I ever tried to name was Kinder. Because Kinder was trying to tell me some bullshit that he was in a dance crew. And I go, you know what? Fuck you, dude. Your name's Black Swan. and
I never heard that.
And he looked at me and Guru came out of nowhere and he's like, no, dude, that's not his name, dude. His name's Letdown. And I'm like, oh, dude, Black Swan is so much better. Black Swan would have been so much better.
Oh man.
But I just let it go. Whatever. That's their business. I've never been that guy to name somebody or, it's like the idiots that walk around and the guys that are wearing the red rookie hats, people hit them on the head. That annoyed the hell out of me.
What?
Who came up with
that was a thing too. I would literally see, the last night of haunt, they'd be giving out those hats.
Yeah.
And I'd see certain people go up and hit the other guys on the head. I'm like, what are you doing? How old are you?
Like hit him on the head, just tap him, or
like just hit him on the head, because they're wearing a red rookie hat. I'm like, how did that become a thing?
Wow.
I'm like, we should be talking about trying to be inclusive with people, and you're doing stupid stuff like that.
They gave me a red rookie hat in 2015.
you want to hear gone for so long?
I remember when.
I don't know. Did you really come back in 2015?
Kind of. Part of me was there. I was there in spirit.
I remember when Heckler came back and they gave him a rookie and he lost it. That was funny.
Like he lost his mind, or he actually lost.
Yeah, he's like, no, dude, I've worked here for like 23 years. And they go consecutively, and he's like, well, no. And they go, well, then you start over. So he was all mad because he didn't get like the 10-year thing or something. I was like, dude, does that lawn chair really mean that much to you?
Yeah,
dude, my lawn chair broke. So I cut it. I cut the back part off where it says "Not Scary Farm." I turned it into a patch.
Mine's probably sitting up in the rafters in the garage. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, Scary Farm represents more so now. It's all about friendships at this point.
Yeah.
Because
you're old.
Well, because I'm sure you're going to ask. So I'll just talk about it now. The 50th, is that going to be the final year?
Yeah. You're right. I was
Everybody
gonna ask.
That's like a huge thing with everybody. Like, okay, dude, it's the 50th. And damn it, I think it was Chopper, but I'm not sure. But I don't think it was Chopper. Somebody asked, they were like, oh, well, they moved you to a new zone because I was part of this whole, 50th, dude. And it might have even been Mike Murray. But somebody had asked, they go, this could it was Dan. It was Gemini. Dan
Hodges. Okay.
Yeah, it was Dan. And he goes, I don't know, man. This could literally like extend your haunt career for, 10 more years, dude, because you're not doing what you were doing over there. And I go, he's got a valid point.
He does.
And if I'm really enjoying this area like I am,
that area is perfect for you, dude. I mean, the character is great, and you can build off of it year after year.
Yeah, I don't know if it was John, Pasta, Brandon, but thank you. I was really happy to be over there. It was a change that honestly probably needed to happen.
Uh-huh. Well, you started getting complacent, huh? A little bit.
I'm not gonna say I got complacent.
Well, it was time for you to make a change to a different character.
I was just getting tired.
Yeah.
The costume was literally starting to really get me tired.
Mm-hmm.
You're always tired in that thing. Nobody will really understand if they've never actually put that thing on, or if they've been a character like, I don't know, Goofy or something, then they might not, they'll probably understand.
Yeah.
But that thing weighs on you, and then you get sopping wet, and the sweat goes into the suit, and that becomes
heavier.
It just makes it heavier, and you're just dying after a while. So I do think it was more than likely time. Again, thank you guys. Because honestly, if they would have had me come back and said, hey, we want you to do the pig, I still would have done it, because that's what they think I would excel at. That's what they think I'd be best at, and I've always been a team player to the most part. I've never understood the person that's like, dude, they did this to my character. It's not your character. Right. It's Knott's Berry Farm's character.
Right.
You might have done what you wanted to do with that character. You might have given it birth, but that's not his character at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of, some people miss that. They think it's about them, and the event's not about you. It's about the guest, and it's about giving them the best that you can do. Yeah, you're going to have bad nights. You're going to have great nights. You're going to have good nights. You're going to have average nights. But I never really bought into the whole, do you know who I am? And I think a lot of that, because I remember seeing a lot of younger kids, and, I never had to work a maze. I never had to do this. And I am so glad sometimes I started in my 30s.
You just want to punch him in the mouth.
Well, you know what's funny, Jeremy, about the whole thing? Because you're older, they automatically assume you've been doing this since you're 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
There's people there that literally think I've been there for 2.5 decades, 3 decades,
right,
because I'm 47. And I'm like, nah, dude, I started in my mid-30s, bro. And they're like, wow, okay. And there's not I think Uncle Mike started it later in life.
Mm-hmm.
He did, because he was a huge fan from the very beginning, and he started at in his 40s, I think. Don't quote me on that.
Joey Bryan, he started late.
Yep.
Mike Murray started late. So there's a lot of guys out there that started in their mid-30s.
Yeah.
But people just automatically assume, like, dude, he's older than dirt. He must have, he's been here forever. And you tell them, like, yeah, dude, it's been like 11, 12 years. And they're like, really? That's it? And you're like, dude, not, some of us had regular jobs and stuff that we couldn't do it then, or we just decided that we wanted to do it. It's just one of those things that it's not always about, okay, I'm 18 years old, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. It's like Chopper reached out to me like 2 or 3 years ago and was like, dude, is it just me? Or is there like all these kids now only working like 2 or 3 years tops and they're gone?
The turnover's greater now. It's not like back in the day.
Yeah. And I applaud Knott's because Knott's really takes care of us older people, because they know we're the vast majority of us are there because we love the event and we love the people we work with.
Yeah.
So they take really good care of us.
Right.
You know, and I'm not going to sit here and say anything negative about Knott's, because I think Knott's has done a marvelous job. You know, they're really trying to make the event, because they have so much competition now.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so much more competition out there. I mean, you got home hunts now. They're grade level maze, like for amusement parks being built.
Yeah.
You know, and you got all the amusement parks trying to take your action. You know, you got to step up your game too. And I think they've done that. I think the management team has done very well there. You know, so I don't have any complaints with that. You know, I've heard people like complain, but I'm like, dude, try to do what
shake your head at it.
Well, try to do what they're doing all year long, where they have to plan everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
It's not easy.
You got wardrobe that's got to like make the costumes months in advance. I mean, it's a lot more difficult than I think some people just think like, oh, it's August. Okay, they're putting it all together right now.
They start right after Haunt's over the year before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what I understand, they still do it that way.
Yeah. They were working on it today.
Yeah.
You know, but whatever. I mean, people are people. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I just think at some point you got to kind of look at it and go, okay, you know, this is an event. It's not about me.
Right.
It's an overall show for the people that walk through the gate.
Yeah. You know, it's like I went last year was the first time I've actually gone as a guest in like 10 years. And it felt different.
Yeah.
It also didn't help the fact I'd go through certain zones and it'd be like, Sinatra, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Hey, Sinatra's coming through. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, dude, are you kidding me?
That's the joy of being able to go through without a lot of people knowing who you are.
I remember
Jeremy has that anonymity.
Yeah.
People don't, because this generation, they don't know who Jeremy is. So, you know.
I think it was like 2 years after Mike Murray left. He walked up to me and he goes, dude, I don't know 85% of the people here now.
Wow.
And I'm like, and he goes, and they don't know me. And I'm like, yeah, it's a totally different animal now. You know, we get a lot, I think in my opinion, we get a lot more theater people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you used to be, they just got, you know, kids off the street and threw them in mazes and that was it. But now it's like, we're going to train you. We're going to try to make you the best that you can be in your position.
Yeah.
And I still don't think a lot of these kids even know. I mean, I didn't know. I was oblivious. Yeah, at 35, I was oblivious walking in, you know, go, yeah, I'm going to work Scary Farm. Because I was used to like setting up my front yard and scaring people for like 2 hours or 3 hours and being done.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a grueling event.
It's a very grueling event, you know, and a lot of people I don't think take into consideration how much endurance. I mean, there's certain people. There was Kamikaze. I remember a guy, he had to work at 4 a.m. and he was out there scaring until 2:30.
Yeah.
He'd go to work, he'd go home and go to bed for like an hour, go to work, and then he'd come right back to hunt.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, and I tip my hat to guys like that. You know, I'm like, dude, you know, a lot of these people have to work 2 jobs. You know, you should probably be a little bit kinder. You know, I try to be nice to everybody. I try. I mean, sometimes my sarcasm doesn't go over well. I totally get that. My cynical nature, you know,
Don't
it's like
say.
when somebody's like, dude, I'm having a horrible night, they keep touching me. I'm like, and
When I first met you, I thought you were a dick.
He is a dick, though.
I
He'll
was
admit
like,
that.
what the fuck? Why is this guy being such a dick, dude? And then I met you again later, and I was like, oh, and well, Scott had told me too. He's like, no, he's just sarcastic. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I met you again later, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's sarcastic. Okay, cool. I got it. When you and Ed go at each other, I'm like, all right, I get it. It's like Scott.
It's
and I
hilarious.
Go at it.
well, Ed's an easy target.
It's so Scott.
You know, I mean, Ed's just an easy target because Ed's very much like me. We don't really care to be quote unquote famous because And I always say this: the first person I meet at Haunt that becomes world famous is the first person that's ever become world famous.
Right.
I mean, at some point you're going to be done with this event, and you're going to walk away. And I don't know anybody that's like setting up a con with their character and saying, "Come meet me here."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anybody that does that. So,
well, one, they won't be able to because they're not characters.
Well, but, Mike Murray told me something once that I remember probably till the day I die, literally. He's like, you're a lucky one. And I go, how's that? He goes, you've actually got to play 2 iconic characters in Ghost Town.
Yeah.
He goes, most people play 1.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, yeah. I go, but I remember in 2000, when I wanted to come back in 2014, I wanted to be the mayor of Ghost Town. And I had so many people like, dude, you're perfect for it. Because all I was going to do was put a suit on and put a sash and just talk trash.
Nice.
Yeah.
To anybody and everybody that walked in. And they literally told me, yeah, you're not doing that. And then Clayton, that bastard, becomes Mayor Toad. And I told him, I go, dude, I wanted to do that character, like literally, dude, no joke, like 4 or 5 years before you. And he thought it was hilarious. And I'm like, yeah, I know, right? I go, I actually wanted to do that, but they told me I couldn't do it. So, I mean, and it fits Clayton. Like, I was really excited because I was like, okay, Clayton's going over there, Doink and Boomer are going over there, Jen's going over there. I go, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to get to work with all these people. They were all part of the A-cast.
Oh, and that's right, because you guys had different schedules.
So I never got a chance to work with any of them. And some people were like, dude, you can go out there and work. I go, I look just like Clayton. We have the exact same costume.
Yeah, you can't. You guys are counterparts.
Yeah, I go, I can't go out there and work with them. I go, that sucks. But it was okay because that's the rules.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, you gotta put your ego aside. And I just think that's one thing I really try to stress to the younger kids is like, it's not about you. This is supposed to be fun, but at the same time, it's also supposed to be to put on a show for people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they learn that. They'll learn it later.
Yeah. I mean, it's like now it's like, it's weird to me now because like a lot, like me and Jeff, I talked to Jeff probably about once. We don't really talk. We text because he's got the 2 boys. We'll text about once a week or once every 2 weeks just to say what's up or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I used to watch that guy and I totally thought I could do what he could do at one point. And I'm like, now I'm drinking beer with the guy constantly. This is great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird, like knowing and seeing those guys for years as a guest and going, dude, I wonder what that guy looks like, to going to Broomball, drinking beers with him in the parking lot.
Right.
It's not like meeting Gene Simmons or some rock star, but it's like, dude, I totally remember watching this guy like 15 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
And it for me, it's like kind of bizarre. It's like when Scott told me you were coming back, he's like, yeah, dude, Jeremy's coming back. I'm like, well, that's cool. I don't even think I even saw you out there.
I was only there fucking less than half the nights because work got in the way.
Well, I was over and infected anyway, so it wasn't like I was going anywhere.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have seen you unless you were like, unless we got there early, before showtime. But yeah, it was because I was on one job and they had totally cleared like me leaving a little bit early to make it to the haunt, and I had planned on doing Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and then like 2 weeks in they were like, oh, we're ending the job, and then I picked up a job right away, which was like in Santa Monica. I was in Torrance before. I had to go all the way to Santa Monica, and
so it's way further.
Yeah, and there's a new gig. I'm like, there's no freaking way I'm gonna make it on a Friday night to haunt from Santa Monica. So
yeah, I couldn't, honestly, if I had a regular job, like, a 9 to 5, I don't think I could, at this point in my life, there's no way I could do it.
Yeah, because you were
I
Knott's, right?
I work at Knott's in entertainment. They call it Ghost Town Operations, which is basically you're a character, which is weird because I was trying to figure out a character's name that I couldn't get confused. You know, I was trying to figure out how I can put Sinatra into it because I get people all the freaking time to come by. It's Sinatra. They're yelling, and other people have no idea. They're like, well, I thought your name was Rotgut, and I'm like, well, that's my Scary Farm name. Oh, okay.
What do you do during? So like now, what do you do there?
Sad Eye Joe. I sit in that little booth and I talk to the kids.
Oh, that's perfect for you.
I also do the museum. I talk about Knott's history.
Okay.
I work in the blacksmith area on occasions for like breaking and stuff. Schoolhouse.
Oh, okay.
I also do the Pan for Gold with the kids.
Oh, nice.
And stuff like that. So primarily I'm doing that. And then during Scary Farm, I go into Scary Farm. And then the last 4 years, I've done Santa for the park. Right. So I do Santa
No
up
fat
until
suit required.
No fat suit required. It's so great, man. I walk in there and they all have the fat suits hanging up, and I look and I kind of chuckle and laugh because I'm like, I don't need that. I mean, a couple of the guys actually have to put it on, but yeah, I'm like, I don't need that.
That's funny.
But no, you don't.
Yeah, I do that up until December 25th. And then I revert back in. You know, they've asked me to audition for like other like Ghost Town Alive, like stuff like that. I just I don't actually consider myself an actor.
I'm not really fun.
I'm not really. I made the joke once to one of them. I go, you know, I'm kind of like Will Ferrell. I don't know how to follow a script. Everything's got to be improv.
Right.
Everything's got to be in the moment, and I think it's a great disservice if you go and you tell somebody you're going to do a job and you can't follow through with what you tell them you're going to do.
Right.
You know, it's like when John in Infected gave us all the scripts. I'm like, holy cow, I got to learn all these lines. And John's like, no, you don't need to learn them. I need you to follow it, use it as an outline. Okay, cool. Great. I'm good with that. I can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. But I just think
was really good at that and Infected was Darren. That squad leader Darren.
Yes, the little guy.
Yeah. He has military background. You know, he's in the military for so long, so he just parlayed that. Like when I went in on some of his groups, I felt like I was part of his troop.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I mean, we actually had really good reviews on that. I understand why they made it a maze. I totally get it because the footprint was just so massive.
Yeah.
But again, that was like a slow, painful death every night. I mean, we were averaging anywhere between 13 to 15 miles running, jogging. Yeah. And I mean, every night we were getting out of there like 3:30 because we had so many people. Yeah. And then we had to tear it all down every night. We couldn't leave it up for day ops. So we had to take everything down, you know, and I think it was a well planned out thing. I thought it was really innovative. I thought it was a really cool idea. You know, when it went to a maze, you know, I was lucky again. Thank you, John. The last year they had it as a maze, you know, he approached me and says, hey, past squad leaders were letting them come back and work one night in the maze as a squad leader. Or is that something you're interested in? I said, you bet your ass it's something I'm interested in. So I was able to do it one night, which I was like in love with. I thought it was great. But I'm very interested to see what they're going to come up with next. You know, I think they have a very unique and talented crew there now. It's much more uniformed, I think, than it was in even the early 2000s. It's so much more unified now.
That's good.
So, you know, I'm really tempted, you know, to see what they're going to come up with next.
Yeah, they got to stay ahead of the curve, you know, because there's other events that are nipping at their heels.
Yeah, you know, I always tell people, I'm like, if you want to go to something that has originality, you go to Knott's.
Right.
If you want to go to the movies, go to Universal.
Yeah.
You know, because I couldn't work Universal because, again, it's all scripted.
Yeah.
You know, I love Knott's. I'll love Knott's till the day I die. You know, I still you know, tell my dad to why couldn't I go when I was 5 or 6? I didn't think it was that bad, but my dad was my dad. He's like, you can't watch Hellraiser. Oh, bullshit. I snuck in and watched it. I was like, wasn't that bad, Jerry? Don't know about you.
You're like, I'm watching it anyway.
Yeah. Now I got a whole room dedicated to it. Go figure.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, okay, so we're going to go back to it. We're backtracking, but what if it wasn't the 50th? Take that out of the equation. What do you, like, how long would you see yourself doing, going forward with Haunt? I mean, maybe another 4 or 5 years or what?
Honestly, depending on how the Goring 20s go, because I'm very happy there.
Yeah.
Depending on how that goes, there's that side of me. I see guys like Jackal, Gemini, and Andros, Spaz, guys that we worked with, you guys, and you guys are like sitting by the gun shop laughing, having a good time with each other. I'm like, look at those guys. They ain't got to deal with all the garbage with the guests anymore. They can just sit there and laugh and have a good time with each other. And there's that side of me that sees that. But I would want to say right now I'm still shooting for that time frame of 50. I'm not going to sit there and get together with a bunch of guys that say, hey, this is my last year. It's the 50th. Let's get a group picture. Yeah, I'm not going to get involved in that picture.
Right.
Because I don't want to get in that picture and then go, you know what, dude? I'm Brett Favre, bro. I'm coming back. And play that game every year of like, this is my last year. I'm done. And then I'm right back the next year. I think that's a great disservice to those guys. I would never want to do that and like destroy a picture that they all took when they were all going out together and go, look at this asshole. I can't believe he just did that. Thanks a lot, jerk. So I even thought just to be funny.
Oh, shit.
What?
No, what you just said.
I think just to be funny, I would like to go to the 51st.
Dick.
That way there, it's like, okay, I made it to the 51st Haunt.
Yeah.
Just to be funny about it. But
you'd be all by yourself.
but see, here's the other thing too. I'm not in control of that. They might sit there and say, you know what, last year you were subpar.
Yeah.
And you didn't do what we wanted you to do, or you just had a bad year and we just don't think you can do it anymore. I sure as hell also don't want to be that person that becomes very entitled and be like, dude, I've been doing it for X amount of years. You can't do that to me.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, again, it's not about you. It's their show. They're in charge. That's not saying anything negative about them. They're trying to do what's best for that park.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's really I'm gonna take it year by year and just kind of see what happens. If I was still in Ghost Town, I'd probably say, yeah, the 50th would be it.
Yeah.
But I kind of got breathed anew going over there. It really gave me a shot of adrenaline per se, even though I had plantar fasciitis and I was kind of limping around like a limp. But
well, it just looks like a Tommy gun wound. That's all. You got shot in the leg in a shootout.
I so wanted to have a Tommy gun. I looked into it and I was real tempted, but then no, I was told, no, that's not happening. And I'm like, okay.
It would have been a good prop though.
It would have been a good prop. But then again, I'm like, I don't really like carrying props. I mean, I had the cigar and I had the cigarette and I had the money and I had all that stuff.
But it's stuff you can put in your pockets.
Yeah, I don't even think, honestly, I even use the money hardly at all. Hardly at all.
I saw you with a cigar or a cigarette.
Yeah, I always had just a cigar and a cigarette.
Yeah.
And it was great because people actually thought I was smoking.
What was your plan?
I did. The first time I saw you with it, I thought that was a real cigarette. I was like, what the and I'm like, oh, no, it's fake.
What was your plan?
Somebody actually told me. I'm sorry, Jeremy, what?
I was going to say, what was your plan for the money?
I was just going to stand around, count it. I actually had brought dice, and me and one guy were talking about shooting craps.
Oh, wow.
That would have been cool.
But I couldn't find a place to shoot the craps.
What do you mean? Right next to the blind tiger door.
Yeah, dude, I wasn't going to be kneeling down constantly and shooting craps. I wanted like a table. if I had a table, I would have done it.
That's not That's not gangsta.
Yeah, I know.
I know,
He's
but
Capone, bro. He's Capone. He
Dude,
does what he won't.
that was like I literally was that guy. I like went on the internet and Googled Al Capone just to look. I'm like, okay, he's got the cheeks. Yeah, I see it kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, because I shave all this stuff off when I was doing it, because most gangsters back then did not have facial hair.
They were
Most
clean
of them,
shaven.
They were clean shaven. So I wanted
shows sophistication.
Yes. So I wanted to keep it as close to the vest as I could and keep it as close to the air. And I'm like, yeah, I got to shave all this. I can't have facial hair.
Right.
Yeah.
So I literally shaved it. I was like, but it was great. I had 2D makeup. It was the first year I had 2D makeup in Trick or Treat, but it just wasn't the same. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude, 2D makeup. What a change.
Yeah.
I was able to actually get all the makeup off in like literally like 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah. It feels great. And with the cold going against your face, it feels nice.
It just felt good just for the simple fact I wasn't wearing the fat suit and I didn't take it off and I was wet and all that cold air hitting me.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just like, and I mean, I miss Ghost Town. I miss the people. It was weird because we're not allowed to come early like we used to do, where you'd sit for an hour and get ready and take your time.
Yeah.
You had to clock in 5 minutes before your start time.
That's crazy.
And I think it was 20 minutes. Again, I think they did it the first night. It didn't work well. And again, they pivoted and they did, I thought, an incredible job afterwards. I was able to get in. I was able to get in the chair on time. Everything worked out. But our break area is way over in the Roaring 20s area.
Yeah, it's over there by the bumper cars, right?
Yeah, I never saw anybody in Ghost Town. Never. I would be back there for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody I had worked with in the past half a decade, I wasn't able to see anymore.
Yeah.
That was kind of rough, because like Ed would come in and he'd tell me, yeah, this is going on or this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Or if I was walking back there to get my makeup, I would see like somebody like France or Gloria walk by and we just wave and say, hey, and, go about our business. But I really didn't get a chance to see the guys I've worked with, for the longest time.
Yeah. So the camaraderie wasn't there.
Yeah. We had a lot of young kids in the Roaring 20s, a lot of young kids.
Right.
And I kind of turned into the grumpy old guy. I just go sit outside and I'd read my phone and, just kind of stay to myself, which in a way I'm not complaining about that, because I kind of wanted that, because I had already said, once they moved me, I was like, okay, well, I don't have to be in charge of this anymore. I don't have to help out with this anymore. So I was able just to go to work and come home.
Yeah. And go to breakfast when you wanted to.
I didn't even do that. I literally just came home. Now, I'm sure COVID had a lot to do with that too.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was just nice being able just to go and come back and go to bed if I wanted to, wake up, go, and do it all over the next day. It worked. So I was happy with it, I mean, it's weird because, I was the guy that used to go to Broom Ball and I had the ice chest in the back and I was handing out beers to everybody, and Tweak was there and Jerry and
Tweak's brown shoes.
It was just shoes. Dude, you know how much money I used to make selling beer out of the back of my car at Broom Ball?
Oh, yeah. Hundreds of dollars, dude.
Well, because I know Jeremy doesn't know. So I used to work part-time at Bevmo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I would go and I'd buy a bottle of Jack Daniels. I'd buy a bottle of Captain Morgan. I'd, buy bottles, vodka. I'd buy about, 2 or 3 12-packs of beer. And I would literally get the ice chest. At the time I had a PT Cruiser.
Okay.
So I put it all in the back, and I put lawn chairs in the back, and I'd put ice. So we'd go to work, and then we'd go to Broom Ball or whatever. And then as soon as I got there, it was great because people literally would save me a parking spot, like right in the middle of everything.
Oh, wow.
And then I just set up a little table, and I'd be, okay, what kind of beer do you want? Oh, you want a beer? $4.
Wow.
And I would literally just sell beer to the people that didn't
and people would
actually
buy them?
People bought them.
Wow.
I actually made one year, I made $350
One night?
in one night.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
I went back the next year and I sold some more, but that's kind of like when I realized, I'm getting too old for this because the people were annoying me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some kids that were just getting out of control, and I was just like, you know what, I'm getting too old now.
Yeah.
It's time to hang it up. I'm not doing this no more. So I don't do the after haunt events anymore. But every once in a while, I'll get somebody that'll ask like, "Hey, dude, are you going to the after hunt event? Are you bringing any alcohol?" And I'm like, "I don't do it anymore. Sorry, dude."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's over and done with, dude.
You just reach that age, man, where you're just like, "I'm just done."
Yeah.
Chopper told me best. He's like, "Dude, I get off at like 12 o'clock. I'm not going to sit around here waiting until 2 a.m.
Right.
So I can go do an after hunt event, and then 6 a.m. I'm out." He goes, "Nah, I'm going home, going to bed."
Exactly.
And I said, "You know what, dude? You got the right idea."
Mm-hmm.
Chopper's old too. He'll be on here eventually.
You guys you guys should have quite a list now.
We have a huge list.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of scheduling and timing, like get their schedule and then Jeremy's and I schedules, because his and I schedules suck ass too right now. So
Yeah.
So, but dude, on that note, let's wrap this thing up.
All right.
we're pushing 2 hours, bro.
Oh, well, we kind of figured it was going to go that way.
Yeah. But no, we covered your whole start to finish though, and the things you've done. So, you talked about all the actual characters you've played, the shit you've been in charge of, and now you're like, oh, I don't have to do it anymore. So it's a good evolutionary line, that a lot of people don't have.
Well, and I'm really interested to see what the next generation has coming in.
Yeah.
It's just weird that, you think you're like, dude, I'm 47 years old and I'm still chasing kids around an amusement park.
Yeah.
That's kind of nutty, but at the same time, it's like, well, what else am I going to do?
Right.
Nobody trick or treats in this neighborhood. Nobody trick or treats here.
Yeah, I know. I don't think anybody does here either.
So it's like, I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah. But before we wrap, you want to plug your socials so people can check out your stuff, follow, whatever?
Literally the only thing I think I honestly have now is just this. And I have my Instagram, which is Sinatra.goring20s. I just never changed it.
Yeah.
It's weird because I'll actually, real quick, I will tell you one more story, which is hilarious. I think I told you this story, Scott.
As he looks over his shoulder to see if Ed's coming.
Because I heard something over there. I was like, okay, is he coming? We'll try. No, he's not off work yet. Okay. So I was actually working in Pan for Gold one day, and I was sitting there and I was talking to somebody, and this group of kids go walking by. And one of the kids stops and he walks back. He goes, "Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you or anything, but can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Sure." And he goes, "You wouldn't happen to be one of the pig twins at Ghost Town, would you?"
Yeah, you told me this story.
And I looked at him, I go, "Yeah, how would you know?" He goes, "I heard your voice, man."
He goes, funny.
He goes, I just knew right from your voice. He goes, "Dude, I follow you on Instagram." And I'm like, well, I take pictures of my panning for gold here on Instagram.
IG famous, bro.
Yeah, IG famous. Like that's gonna pay the bills. But it just like I had a lady in Target like last year. Like literally, I was like 2 registers over, and she like, "Dude, you're one of the pig twins, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, dude!"
How funny.
And I think it was Bastard Willie. He's like, "Dude, you need to change your voice, bro, if you don't want that shit to happen." I'm like, "It's a good point. I didn't think about that."
Yeah.
But yeah, that shit does happen. It's kind of weird.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is. So,
but no, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
No, yeah, we appreciate you coming on. It took a while to get you, but we're just trying to sift through guests slowly but surely and get everybody on we can.
Yeah.
So
I get it. Have fun, Jeremy, editing this, by the way.
I'm not going to edit much, to be honest. Honestly,
you won't have to because it was pretty clean.
The only thing I'm going to edit is me in my little blank spots. But like, what camera? It didn't go out.
Yeah. So with that, folks, let's wrap this thing up. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this episode with Sinatra. So if you like what you see and hear, hit that like button, smash the subscribe, and follow us on our social medias. Reach out to us with any questions there if you like. Other than that, good night, everybody.
Have a good one.